Hey, if you're a Christian man who has ever thought, why can't I change? I really want to be a better husband, a better father. I want to be a better follower of Christ, and I want to set a better example, or I want to lose weight, or I want to get in better shape, or I want to be a more diligent student of God's word, whatever it might be. There's an area of my life or many areas of my life that I want to change, and I'm struggling to do that. And I don't know why. If that is you, or if you've ever dealt with that issue, then I really want you to listen closely today. I want to give you one key word in particular today that maybe you haven't considered in your quest for change and becoming a better man. And I want to give you a phrase at the towards the end here. I'm going to share it with you. A phrase though that can change everything for you, no matter what that area of life is that you're trying to change. So again, if that's you, if you're like, man, I want to get better, I'm trying, I'm doing everything I know how, but I feel like I'm not getting the traction I want, or there's something that feels like it's keeping me back from being that man, then I'm glad you're here. Pay attention to this and really listen closely again for that key word, which I'm not going to try to hide from you. You'll hear it here clearly in just a second. But then also that phrase that I want you to repeat over and over again in whatever area of your life that you're trying to fix or get better at. I think today in this conversation, it can be super, super helpful to you. Many of us, I think, as men, are not the men that we wish we were. And we, in many ways, are wearing masks. Maybe you feel that way at times, like almost like you're pretending, not on purpose. Like when you're at church, you're more of that guy that you wish you were, but at home or even 5 minutes after church, you're not that guy. You revert back into this other version of you that is more typical you. But there's something that gnaws at you. If you're anything like me, there's this thing that just gnaws at me, and I'm grateful for it. But it's like it's always pushing me to be a little bit better. Not the pretend guy. I want to be the real guy. I want to be the guy that I know is possible, the Christ in me that I know is possible. Not the man that I talk about becoming someday, but I want to get there. I want to be that man. And deep down, many of us feel that way. And I bet maybe if you listen all the way through, that you're probably similar to me, that you're probably a guy that loves his family, loves the church, loves Jesus wholeheartedly. You genuinely want to be a better man, but you're not sure how. You want to be the better husband that you know you could be. You want to be a more patient father. You want to be more disciplined in 1,000 areas of your life. You want to be more spiritually consistent. You want to be more emotionally steady. You want to walk closer with God. You want to represent Christ more and more at the workplace and wherever you're at. You want to be less controlled by your cravings, by your emotions, by lust, by anger, by comfort, by food, by inconsistency. Because if we're honest, aren't we tired? Aren't you tired of, again, just that gnawing feeling that's inside where you're like, those are all the things I don't want to be, and I tend to be more of that guy than the guy that I want to be. I get tired of that. Maybe you do too. It's like this hamster wheel. You jump on the hamster wheel, and there's certain days, man, you're flying, you're making good progress, and you're feeling like, man, I'm getting closer. I'm trying hard to change. I'm motivated certain moments. I'm all in at certain moments. It feels like there's progress, and then you're 2 steps back, and then you're just like, for a while, you feel like completely defeated. For a while, you feel like, what am I even doing this for? For a while, you feel like when life happens, maybe you really don't want to be that guy. And then a few days later, you're like, what am I talking about? Of course I do. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, some of you listening know what I'm saying. This hamster wheel, this on and off, this yo-yo, whatever you want to call it, of like, I'm in, I'm out. It's like that old thing in the playground. She loves me not. She loves me not. We're like, every day it's like picking off a pedal and feeling like, okay, let's see what today brings. But deep down, that's the gnaw. That's the thing that just like irks you the most. I really want to change. I really want to be different. And then life happens, and then you get tired, and then you get busy, and then you get discouraged, and then you miss a few days, and then suddenly you find yourself back to the old guy, and you're like, doggone it, how did I get back over here again? And ultimately, what happens to many of us is when we go through those gyrations of in and out, never quite making it where we want to go, eventually, many of us start to think, what's wrong with me? And maybe it is just me. Maybe other guys have something that I don't. Certainly the pastor that I watch, he's got something I don't. And the guy that's doing that podcast, certainly he's got something that I don't, and that author and that guy down the road and blah, blah, blah. You look around, and as a guy, you think, what is the deal with me? Again, if that sounds familiar to you, I just want you to hear this, that the problem is likely not that you're weak or that you're lazy or that you don't care. The problem is most likely that you've never actually learned how to change. And in fact, you might have even been encouraged in the wrong ways to try to get where you're trying to go. Now, again, like there's never ending sanctification. In my life, I think I can talk about this all day as if, oh, so I must have everything down, right? This is the internal battle for me. Who am I to tell you these things? Look, I'm on the journey like you. I'm just a man like you that cares deeply about being a better husband and father and follower of Christ. I'm literally just in this journey with you. But I feel like in some of the things that I've studied and learned in almost 50 years of life, there are some things that I want to share that I'm working on with me that might help to transform you. So again, getting past my own self-doubt and conversations there, I have learned some things that I think are meaningful. And again, the biggest thing may be for you today that you simply have approached change the wrong way. You've approached being a better spiritual leader in the wrong way. And maybe you've done that with your health. Maybe you've done that with your relationships. Maybe you've done that in every area of your life. I think for many of us, there tends to be this idea that transformation, the only way you can really transform your life in a big way is to give massive effort, to give extreme discipline, or to be this emotionally intense guy all the time. And it's just like we look at certain of these figures and we think, golly, that guy is just always on. How does he have that thing and how do I get it? And it's good. I'm glad that there are dudes like that. There are a few like that. But I'm not really talking about that guy. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about the average everyday dude who's not a Navy SEAL, who's not, the tip of the spear. We're just guys, right? We're just everyday dudes. Now, again, I do want to say this. I bet if I could sit and chat with them, they would probably in some ways say, no, that's me too. I've learned to embrace certain things, and I bet there's some truth to that. But those are unique guys in general. If you make it to that level, like many of these guys that we see on social media, you're like, okay, that guy is special in unique ways for sure. And yet he's super ordinary too. He's learned to embrace things along the way. And again, I'm glad they're giving their voice because there's so much we can learn from them. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Nate Whitson podcast. I wanted to interrupt the show just for a second to let you know that there are all kinds of great resources for Christian men who want to be better husbands, better fathers, better followers of Jesus, and just better men in general. If that's you or maybe somebody that you know, then be sure to head over to getinthefight.club, that's .club, and check out the books and the resources, the coaching material, the newsletter, the Fight Club. There's so much there for you. Getinthefight.club. Check it out today. If you're serious about being the man that God meant for you to be and you're looking for tools or resources or just help in general, then be sure to head over there right now and check it out. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Now back to the Nate Whitson podcast. There's so much that I'm going to tell you about that I'm sure I've been influenced by guys like that, the tip of the spear guys. I'm just saying for me and for my audience, we're not typically that guy. We're the guy that just simply goes to church, loves his family, works blue-collar jobs, works hard to just be better men and feel very average and think, man, if only I was special or extraordinary like the tip of the spear guys. And I guess what I want to say to all of us here, myself included, is that real change is possible, but we have to learn to approach it a different way. And again, I bet these tip of the spear guys maybe approach it differently than we do. And there is a lot to learn there. And maybe what I'm saying actually is the secret to their success too. I'll let you decide, and maybe we'll try to get them on and maybe ask them that question eventually, some of those guys. But what I want to talk about today is the concept of why small things and small approaches may actually be the key to getting where you want to go to make big changes, to be the man that God made you to be. I want to talk about the key word here. And I told you earlier in this that I was going to give you a key word. The key word when it comes to change is small. You might even just say tiny. Now, when I think of small or tiny, I think no thank you. Like the other day, I'll give you an example. I was out to lunch with my team at my office, and there's a new guy that came into work. And so we took him out to lunch on day one, whatever, and just a normal lunch. Anyways, and we're talking, the lady, I'm looking at these two options on the menu, and I say to the waitress, should I choose this one or that one? And she goes, this one, there's not a lot, but this one, it's huge. And you might be like super stuffed if you eat it and all this. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that one. If the option is this thing is huge and I can get a lot of food there, or this one's kind of small and it's not going to satisfy, I don't want the tiny plate. Give me the big plate for sure, right? And I think that's just indicative of many areas of my life and probably yours too. We don't want tiny. As a man, tiny gets a bad rap, right? Who wants a tiny role on the team? You want to play football? Cool. What are you looking to do? I just want a tiny role. I just want a small role, right? Most of us aren't built that way. I don't want a tiny role on the team. I don't want a tiny paycheck every Friday. I don't want a tiny piece of steak or a tiny little lunch. And as a man, I don't want a tiny, you know what? Nobody wants the tiny, right? You don't want your wife to say, oh, he's cute. That part of you is cute. He's tiny, right? No guy wants to hear that. So in some ways, like it makes sense that we avoid the idea of tiny. Nobody, no man wants tiny because we live in a world that like glorifies and amplifies and worships anything that's big. Bigger goals and bigger effort and bigger results and bigger money and bigger cars and bigger houses and bigger, right? As men, we can really fall in line with that idea and buy into this idea of bigger, right? When we're trying to change in particular, and we're trying to be better husbands or fathers or just lose weight or whatever it is, breaking bad habits, stopping smoking, stop cursing at work, whatever it is. When we're trying to get our lives together, we assume incorrectly, is my whole point here today, that the way to change is to make big effort, to give big results. And again, emotionally invested, nonstop, always be turned full dial up, right? If we have a big problem, the assumption that we make is that it's going to take a big fix, right? And maybe you understand that. Maybe you feel like that's true. Part of it's because of the mantras we've heard. The go big or go home, shoot for the moon, give 110%, right? Like, again, I often say, like, it's the David Goggins type mantra of you got to stop being a wussy and just go hard. And even if your leg's broke, just keep moving. That sounds macho and manly. And I'm here to tell you today, like, no, let's go small. Let's go tiny. Let's take it easy. And people are like, dude, that's so wimpy. But the thing that I want to encourage you with is this. If you're, again, I'm almost 50. If you're close to my age and you've been dealing with the same stuff and you're like, it can't be small. Small can't be the answer. And you just keep trying to beat your head against a wall and figure out why can't I change? My only thought to you is let's try something else, right? Like insanity is doing the same things over and over. Maybe you're just doing the same things over and over. Maybe it's worth a change. Maybe you'll get to the spot when you're years down the road and you're like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe tiny is the way. Maybe small is the way to go because every time I try to go big, it never seems to work. And let's picture it this way. Let's say that you want to lose 30 pounds as fast as you can. What do, right? Well, if you're like most guys and you've got 30 pounds to lose, you go Navy SEAL Commando. On day one, you're like, I'm not wearing shoes. I'm wearing boots, right? And I'm going to wear like a full 2 sweatshirts and 2 pants and shorts and sweatpants. And like, I'm going to layer up because I'm going to sweat this out. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to run 5 miles, right? I'm going to jump in the lake, even though it's freezing cold, and I'm going to go crazy, man. I am in, right? You go crazy. You go, like, at the end of that, you go, man, that felt terrible, but I feel good. Why? Because I went big. I went crazy on this thing, man. I went 110%. I'm doing what the other guy down the road will never do. He would never do what I just did. But then guess what? Then he gets shin splints, right? Or then he gets a cold because he went swimming in the lake in the middle of the winter or whatever it is. Like something happens. And 3 days later, this idea of go bonkers backfires on him, right? You cranked it up. You went nutso. You went David Goggins on it. You went all CrossFit on day one. You were all in, super motivated. Why? Because you've got big goals. You've got to lose 30 pounds, right? The only way you're going to get there, if you're a man, is to go big or to go home. So you went big, didn't you? And guess what? 2 days later, 3 days later, 3 hours later, when everything tightens up and seizes up on you, you're like, okay, I'm going to just skip tomorrow, but I'll get back at it the next day. And then 2 days becomes 3 days, becomes 3 months. And you already know why? Because you've been through this. I've been through this so many times. When your muscles scream at you because you went bonkers, you can't move the next day. When your energy is so low because you just gave everything literally to that plan, it doesn't work. One day somebody invites you to lunch and all of a sudden the whole weight loss thing is just gone instantly, right? Like, oh man, I got a free lunch out of this. You didn't order the salad, did you? You got free lunch and you're like, I'm doing the burger, don't even matter, but I'll get back at it. And then you never do. Why? Why does this not work? It isn't because you didn't give effort. It's not because you don't care. It failed because you thought intensity mattered more than consistency. And I'm telling you, if you could just slow this down, I purposefully went slow in saying that and paused that because I want you to hear this so clearly. I told you the phrase that I was going to share with you was coming up, and here it is. Ready? Consistency, not intensity, is the key to the change that you're trying to make. It isn't going commando. It isn't going like, again, David Goggins. It isn't going bonkers on this, right? If you want to be a better spiritual leader, you need to go small. You need to go tiny when it comes to day one change. When you're trying to fix a relationship that's been hurting for years, you don't fix it by going big and having a week-long vacation. That might help, but going big isn't your answer. It isn't what's going to fix it long term. Going small, going tiny is on a day-to-day basis, a consistent basis. If you're way behind in savings, most of us can't just go fix that overnight. How are you going to get there? Slowly but consistently, tiny. Start making small changes today. Tiny is the way that you win. Why? Because consistency is the engine of change. And that's the thing that you have to understand. I hope that I'm going to make that clear to you today. Take whatever area of your life it is that you feel like, man, I'm just beating my head against the wall. I'm doing the same thing. This is the hamster wheel for me. I'm on it all the time. I get in, I get out, I try hard, I get motivated. 2 days later, I'm out. 4 days later, I'm out, whatever it is. Why? When does it fall apart? It falls apart when you can't do it consistently. Yep. That consistently issue is the whole issue. The thing I want you to repeat over and over in every area that you're trying to change is this. Consistency, not intensity, is the key to change. Consistency, not intensity, is the key to change. And that is why tiny is not your enemy in this case. Tiny is your key advantage. Tiny steps, tiny habits, tiny wins. Do you remember, what's the dumb movie? Bill Murray was the lead character. Is it Groundhog Day? No. Is it Groundhog Day? No, I'm blanking. Bill Murray, I know, is the character, and he takes tiny steps or baby steps. That's what it's called. Baby steps. He's got all kinds of issues. In the book with the psychologist that tells him what to do, Richard Dreyfuss, I think is the other guy, tells him like, baby steps is the key. Small steps, just baby steps to here, baby steps to there. And the whole movie's kind of built around that. It's super funny. But that's right. It actually is, I think, totally right. Tiny steps, baby steps, small habits, small wins, consistently done will keep you in the game. And again, here's the whole thing, right? Whatever area of your life, whatever that area is for you that you're trying to change, the whole goal is to stay in the game. When you go big and it eventually falls apart, it gets you out of the game completely, doesn't it? Whether that's losing weight, you go really great for 30 days, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 bad days, or you go on vacation. Now you just stop doing it altogether. What would happen if you just had some breaks in the action, but you never left the game? You would probably be way further ahead, right? Same thing with building muscle, same thing with building a bank account, same thing with building connection with your wife emotionally, same thing in any area of your life. Staying in the game, showing up every day is the key to life. It's the key to change. Big effort, when you go through those motions of big, it feels heroic, it feels manly, and we all understand that. But it's the small steps, it's the tiny steps that actually stick and help you to keep doing it the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. So the truth of the matter is this: tiny beats big intentions every time. So a question that you might ask is this: when I feel at my worst, whether that's again emotionally and you're trying to fix a relationship, or financially things are really hurting and you're at your worst, it's a terrible month, all the bills have been in and you still are just struggling, you only have a few bucks left to your name, whatever it is, whatever area, on your worst day or in your worst moments, what could you still do to show up and stay in the fight, to stay in the game? What could you do on your worst day when it comes to exercise or reading your Bible or, again, any other area? That's what I want you to shrink your new habit or behavior or routine down to. The smallest, tiniest step that you could do even on your worst day. That's the starting point. Now, here's what happens. When you do the smallest, tiniest steps, the pushback you're going to feel as a man is you're going to instantly go, that's not enough. That's not enough effort. That's not enough intensity. That's not enough money or whatever your area is. That's not enough of that thing to get me where I want to go. Here's the thing you have to know. This is simply about staying in the fight, staying in the game, period. Don't worry about how it's going to get you there, the speed at which this type of effort will get you there. The point isn't that this effort will necessarily get you there tomorrow. It's that it will eventually get you there. And the point is that you're staying in the fight. You're not going to come in and get out and come in and get out based on your emotions or feelings. Tiny is how you win the game because it keeps you in the game. So I've created this course called Training for Change. And the real engine of that is something that I call the START super small system. And so if you're looking for help and you're like, okay, Nate, I hear this, but I need directions. I need step-by-step instructions, right? Go to getinthefight.club and you'll see Training for Change. You'll see courses. There's all kinds of stuff there and you can go find out about it. But the whole point of it is that it can walk you through step-by-step how to determine the goals that matter, the steps to take, the questions to ask, the things to do. If you're looking for help like that, then again, go to getinthefight.club and you can find that help there. But what I want you to do, no matter what, is I want you to take the area of change that you're looking at, and I want you to just figure out, how can I do this even when I don't feel like doing it? Even on my worst day, how can I still just do a little bit? And then just repeat that. And then the next day, just repeat that. Eventually, if you start to feel like that's so easy and now I'm consistently showing up, number one, you're going to feel amazing about that. It's going to feel like a win simply because you're like, wow, I'm doing this every day. This feels great. That's going to make you go, I want to do a little bit more, and that's okay. But make sure when you start to feel like you want to do a little bit more, that it really is just a little bit more. In fact, it's so little bit that you could still keep doing the next level up even on your worst day. And if you keep doing that over time and you keep just staying in the game for whatever that is for you that you're fighting for, I'm telling you, that's the path to get there. That's the path. You will eventually just add a little bit more and do a little bit more and do a little bit more. But I want to caution you. At some point, you will go, oh, I got this. Now it's time to go big. Now I can go David Goggins on this thing. And then you're going to do that. And you might find yourself back at square one if you're not careful. Be so careful about going, man, I feel so good that now I'm going to go nuts. Going nuts is never going to be the goal. Staying in the game, showing up, and being consistent is always going to be the name of the game. So keep leveling up when you can consistently keep showing up. And say this over and over. Consistency, not intensity, is the key to change. Consistency, not intensity, is the key to change. Tiny is your key advantage. start super small. Again, if you want help, keep listening to this podcast, subscribe to this. I talk about these kinds of concepts all the time, but this is how we win. And this is how we win where it matters most. And that's what Get in the Fight is all about, helping Christian men win where it matters most, which is where? As husbands, as fathers, and as followers of Christ. If you can take the areas of change that you've been just beating your head against the wall with over time, and you can start to find victory there, you're going to find victory any place in your life, and God will receive the glory. That's what this is all about. All right, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing this on social media and with your friends. Now get out there this week. Make sure you stay super small, but win where it matters most, and I'll see you soon. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here today and listening to the show. Please be sure to head over to the website at getinthefight.club. And before you go, if you haven't already, please subscribe, click the like button, and leave us a positive 5-star review. It makes a huge difference whenever you do. Have a great day. Go get in the fight.